Jane, it's really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I've built a program for you based on the information that you filled out on your intake online. It's designed to build strength, and so I'm excited for you to try it. I'm glad that you brought your water bottle and your sweat towel. You're going to need that for sure. So the key to making your program really work for you is consistency. So I'm gonna show you how to set it up, and I'd really need you to commit to staying to the program and doing it regularly and in the order that we've set up. It's gonna work for you the most effectively.
Okay.
Today we're gonna be starting off with the fitness assessment. It only takes 1 minute, and it's a push-up test. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna move on. We're gonna do a warm-up with some dynamic stretching to kind of get your body all warmed up and ready for the workout. We're gonna do a high intensity workout, which is also called a HIIT workout. Then I'm gonna demonstrate the resistance training exercises. I've got 4 of them set up for you to build strength. And I wanna make sure that you have the form down so that you understand how to perform those exercises. Then we're gonna do a cool down and a stretch.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I know a new fitness program can be really daunting, and so if you have any questions, concerns, if anything hurts when you're doing it, please let me know right away. Do you have any questions before we start?
I think I'm good.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's go. So the one way that we're going to measure your progress, like I said, was through the fitness test, and we're going to use the push-up test. So for 1 minute, you're going to perform as many push-ups as you can in proper form. And then what we do is we're going to take that number down, and then in 4 weeks, we're going to revisit it and see how much stronger you are, because that's what you're really wanting to work on strength. So that's going to be a real good indicator of your strength.
So I can't just weigh myself?
You know what, weighing yourself isn't a really good indicator of how well you're actually doing, because we know that our weight fluctuates. It depends on hormones, fluid retention, what we've eaten. There's other variables that come into play with weight, and you're also building muscle, and muscle is more dense, and so you may be weighing heavier, but actually your clothes might be fitting looser. So it's actually a better way to do it like this, because weight can be kind of a bit of a mind trick on us, and we can get fixated on a number.
Okay.
So we're going to perform the push-up test. I'll show you how to do it. We have the soft mat here or the firm mat, so you can decide which one works for you. So what I'll do is I'll demonstrate how to do the push-up first and the things to avoid. So first of all, we're going to have hands planted under the shoulder, just a little bit wider than shoulder length, up on our toes, and we're going to come down like this, face forward, about 3 inches off the ground, or off the floor is where we're going to go to.
Okay.
Now what we want to avoid is teepee bum, where our bum is up like this,
Okay.
or if our back is sagging, that's really hard on our back, or touching like this.
Okay.
So we want to perform push-ups, only as many as you can in that proper form.
So is any part of your body supposed to hit the mat when you're going down?
No.
For a proper push-up? No.
So
Okay.
on your toes, and I'll just make sure that hands planted firmly. Okay, and I'm going to just get my timer and go ahead. And make sure you're breathing. Good. Making sure that those elbows are tucked tight to your body. Awesome. That's very
all you
good.
get.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, we're going to write that number down, and like I said, we're going to revisit it again in 4 weeks to chart your progress.
Okay.
So for a woman in your age group, you actually performed an average amount of push-ups. So anywhere from 10 to 21 is average for a 30-year-old woman.
Okay.
So that's really good, and I'm very confident that your number is going to improve quite a bit within the next 4 weeks. Awesome. Okay, so let's get started with our dynamic stretching. Okay, so we're going to start with our high intensity training interval, which I said was called HIIT. I'm sure you've heard that term before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a type of cardiovascular training. And so what it does is it gets your heart and lungs going so that they can deliver more oxygen into your body. During your HIIT class, you push your body to the upper end of your aerobic zone and into your anaerobic zone. Our warm-up is going to be starting where we're called in the low intensity steady state or the LIS state. And I'll explain those to you in just a second. So how we can gauge by whether we're in those zones is it's called the perceived rate of exertion. So it's called like RPE for short. So it's how you feel personally, and it's going to be different for every single person. So when we are in LIS, we're going to be working, but we should be able to have short little conversations. When we're in high intensity, we are going all out. We're working as hard as we can. If I ask you a question, you should be able to answer in one word or a moan. That's how we know that we're in the high intensity and we're working like almost to our maximum capacity. So what I've done is I've got this little chart here that I want to show you. It's the rate of perceived exertion. You show the little the chick in the middle with the different percentage rate of how they're doing. So 50%, you could do that all day. That's, just doing housework, walking around, whatever. As you're working a little more, maybe it's you're outside playing with the kids, your heart rate's up a little bit higher. This is the state, the upper end of that state is where we want to be in the aerobic zone. So say anywhere from 65 to 80% in this is where we want to, for our warm-up. For our high intensity, we're going to kick it up to 80 to 95%. That's where we are working to our maximum potential. And we're going to do it in short bursts so that we have time to recuperate and to start again. So the benefits of warming up as well before we start that, because it is so intense, is getting our heart rate up, get our body, the blood moving into our muscles. Also, we're going to get the synovial fluid lubricating our joints. And so if we do our warm-up properly, it really helps to prevent injuries. Okay. So we're going to start. We're just going to do a couple minutes here. The first one, what we're going to start off with is just hip openers. And hip openers, we stand firm on the ground and we bring our leg up and then we open. We touch down and we bring it back, up, over, down. Over, down. And then we're going to go up and into the middle where we do the hip closer, they call it. Up, over, down. Up, over, down. And now let's do the other one. So we're going to do the opener.
Do you come all the way up with your knee and then put it back down?
I like to come up and over.
And then just back
Back to the middle and up and over. Good. And now we're going to do the closer. We go this way. And then back and over. It's just getting that whole hip joint engaged and moving. Get the fluids moving around. Okay, and then we're going to just do some little knee circles. And then let's go the other way. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to do some arm circles. Just up and around. Where our hands are just kind of coming across in the front. Perfect.
Are you sure I'm going the opposite direction?
Now, that's okay. Now just go the opposite direction. Perfect. It's fantastic. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to move into a squat. Feet just slightly more shoulder width apart. And our squat, we're going to just come down, stick our butt right out like we're sitting into a chair. And then we're going to add a bicep curl. So we're going to go down and bicep curl. Down, bicep curl. Down, and bicep curl. Perfect. That's perfect. Down, and bicep curl. Perfect. Okay, and now we're going to do something that I'm sure you've done with your son before. We're going to do some jumping jacks. Now, this. Perfect. This will warm your whole body up. Mm-hmm. Do you have any issues with knees or when you're moving out like that, just not putting pressure on your knee?
Nope, feels
perfect.
Good.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so now that we've performed our warm-up, we're going to work in on the hip training now.
Okay.
So now that we're all warmed up, we're going to go right into our hip class. And what it is going to be is we're going to call it AMRAP, which means as many rounds as possible. So for the next 12 minutes, what you're going to do is a series of 3 different exercises, as many rounds as you possibly can in that time frame. The first one is going to be a burpee, which is a very, it's good for your whole body, works out pretty much every muscle in your body. So what you're going to do is place your hands down on the floor, you're going to push your feet back, come forward, jump. That's a burpee.
Okay.
If you have problems where, we get down to the second round and you're having a harder time, you can always, instead of jumping out, you can step out. Step in. Try to do a proper burpee though, they're awesome exercises.
Okay.
Next is going to be jump lunges. Jump lunges, you're going to be positioning your body like this. Your knee is going to be down, 45-degree angle, and you're going to come up. 1, 2, 3. We want to make sure that this knee does not go over your toes. We want to make sure you have proper form.
Okay.
You're also going to be exhaling as you push and inhaling as you lower. Weighted jacks, you're going to have a dumbbell in each hand. Now I only have 5-pound dumbbells. You might want to use a lower weight at home. So instead of just doing a traditional jumping jack, you're going to go.
Okay.
Okay? And for those ones, just make sure that it's nice and controlled. All right, so you can start now with, we'll turn on the timer, and you're going to do 5 burpees, 10 jump lunges, and 5 weighted jacks.
Okay.
Okay. And you can begin whenever you're ready.
So out like that?
Yeah, and then jump in, jump out. Perfect. Perfect, and make sure you're breathing. Your heart rate's going to come up really quickly doing these. Perfect. Now right into the jump lunges. Sink that bum down. Sink that bum down. Yeah. Perfect.
Like that?
Yeah. 9, 10. Perfect. And then into the weighted jacks. And we're going to not raise above our shoulder level at any time when we're raising our weights.
Okay.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, and then now we're going to go right back into our next round. So you've performed 1 round. So if you're at home, you'd be maybe keeping track on your board or whatever, you can go right ahead into 5 burpees. Perfect. And now into your breath. Take a deep breath. Do you feel your heart rate's really getting up there right away?
Uh-huh.
Perfect. That's where you want to be. You want to be where you're just, you know, like I said, it can only answer me in 1 word answers. Okay, so in our jump lunges.
Does it matter which way you go first?
No.
Okay.
Because you're going to be doing basically each leg 5 times, right? So. Perfect. Okay.
I lost track.
So that was 10. Okay, and then 5 weighted jacks.
Oh, out.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So do you feel like that's going to be something that's going to get you sweating really quick?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I've set that for you to do between 12 and 15 minutes. We're going to alternate week to week how many minutes we do that when you're doing your HIIT.
Okay.
And do you have any questions about how to perform those?
I don't think so.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we're going to move into going through the resistance training exercises now.
Okay.
So resistance training is all about making your muscles stronger by making them work against a force or a weight. It helps not only with strength by it not only helps with your strength, but with anaerobic endurance and building bone density. Each time you perform an exercise, it's called a rep, and a group of reps is called a set. The tempo is the speed that you're going to be doing that exercise, the lowering, the pausing, and the lifting stage. So when I talk about a rep, a set, or the tempo, that's what I'm speaking about. And if you have any questions about that, I'll actually write it down as well in the program so that if you forget, you can go back and look. Our first exercise is going to be a lower body exercise, and it's a squat with weights. Squatting helps to create muscles in your body, and in addition to that, it helps, so then of course it burns more calories. It improves your balance and your flexibility, which can prevent injuries just even when you're out playing with your son, just in, if you're wanting to participate in a sport, things like that, everyday activities. It's a compound movement, which means it moves more than, or it's using more than one muscle to perform this exercise. So when we're doing this one, it's going to be using our quads, our hamstrings, it's going to use our glutes, our calves, our core. So let's get started with doing that one. Okay. I'll show you, I'll give you a demonstration first. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick our weights up, we're going to stack them on our shoulders, And then we're gonna push our bum out like we're gonna go, like we're sitting back to sit in a chair, weight on our heels, and then when we come up, we're gonna squeeze up and we're gonna flex our glutes at the top without locking our knees. Like we don't want straight knees, we want soft knees, locking our glutes engaged. We're gonna be going, I'm breathing heavier so that you can hear how we're supposed to be breathing throughout that exercise. And also, make sure that it's like you're wearing an iron shirt where you can't move your chest. So your chest is gonna stay up, your face looking forward. You're not gonna be sinking in or going down like this. You wanna make sure that you perform those with proper form, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna get you to go ahead and get into the position, stack your weights, and we're gonna sit that bum back like we're gonna sit in a chair, and breathe. Pushing through your heels, awesome. Perfect, very good. Very good. Squeezing that butt at the top. Awesome. How does that feel? Good. Can feel your legs engaged and your core engaged. So make sure too when you're performing any of these exercises that we're always making sure that it's like our belly button is sucked back to our spine nice and tight. Okay. Our second exercise is another compound exercise and it's called a chest press. It's going to build our muscles and our strength in our shoulders and our pecs and our biceps. So it's going to help your posture by stabilizing your shoulder, stabilizing your shoulder joint. By lengthening and strengthening your chest, you're also going to be able to breathe deeper, and in everyday life, when you need to lift, hold, squeeze, or push, you're going to be stronger. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do the proper chest press. So what we're going to do is, if you have a mat at home, or you can use a bench, you're going to lay back like this, arms at the like this, 90, and you're going to press up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, here you go. Thank you. And I'll get you to perform 10 of those. Inhale when you're lowering, exhale as you're lifting. Good. And make sure that you're pressing with, like you're trying to engage your chest muscles as you're doing that. Good job. Excellent.
Should your elbows be tight to your body?
You want to make them so that they're like 90 degrees.
Okay.
And up. Fantastic. Perfect. How did that one feel?
Good.
Okay, so and then the next one we're going to go into is going to be a single joint movement. That means that we're isolating one particular muscle, and that's going to be our bicep curl.
Okay.
So when we target this muscle, it's going to, of course, make you burn more calories because it's going to be building muscle, and it's going to help you with everyday movements like when you're doing a pulling movement. So if you're, say, you're pulling Rylan on a sled, you have that extra strength to do that. Okay. So this is how we're going to perform the bicep curl. We're going to be planted firmly, palms facing towards the ceiling, and one at a time, up and down. And it's not going to be like this.
Not jerky.
We're going to go up and down.
Okay.
Up and down. And we're going to alternate between arms. So we'll do one arm, then the next. So each arm will get 10 reps in.
10? Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, and so then we're making sure that our core is nice and tight when we're performing any of these exercises. Inhaling as we lift, exhaling as we lower. Yeah, and that's awesome. You're keeping your arms nice and tight to your body. You don't want your arm flailing out. You want it nice and tight so that you're really isolating that bicep. Good, perfect. And quite often, often, because we have such a mind-body connection, it's really good to think about that muscle that you're actually working. Helps you to engage it a lot easier than if you don't.
Okay.
Now the final one that we're gonna be doing is a plank. And a plank is an awesome exercise because it engages pretty much every muscle in your body. So how we're going to do that is we're going to place our elbows under our shoulders. Like this. We're gonna go up onto our toes. Our belly button is feeling like it's being sucked up to touch our spine. We're gonna dig our toes into the floor, squeeze our glutes. We're gonna keep our eyes forward and our neck in a straight line. This helps us to breathe. It keeps our breathing ways open, and it also helps us to execute this properly. And we're gonna hold in this static position without shifting or adjusting. Okay. And we're gonna do that for 20 seconds for right now.
Okay. Should it be on a mat?
So
or?
you can, if it's easier for you to do that on a mat, because some people find it harder to go on the floor. So yeah, so shoulders, your elbows are stacked under your shoulders. Yeah, want to get back on those toes, drop our bum, eyes forward, suck that belly button up to our back, engage nice and tight. Keep that butt straight or sucked in. Breathe through it. Awesome. Can you feel it working everything?
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Do you have any questions about that, or do you think that that's one that you can do quite easily at home?
I think I can do it.
Okay, perfect. So those are the 4 resistance training exercises that I've set up for you. And now we're going to move on to our cool down with static stretching. Okay, so now we're going to do our cool down. And we're gonna do this for a minimum of 5 minutes. It's gonna help get our heart rate back down, our blood flow returning to normal, and it's gonna bring down our body temperature. It's gonna assist also with moving the lactic acid out of your muscles, which will prevent some soreness from happening. Our cool down is gonna be done with static stretching, and that's when you sit, stand, or lie in one position, and you're doing it for at least 30 seconds in each pose. This is something that you only want to do after your body is fully warmed up, like the workout we've just had. You don't want to do this at the beginning because your muscles need to be warm and loosened up to hold these stretches. So let's start with our standing quad stretch. Now, if you can't stand without tipping, you can hold onto the wall, and you want to just grasp your foot and pull your leg back like this, where basically your heel's kind of coming to your bum, kind of pushing your pelvis out, like in a bit of a pelvic tilt, and just holding that. Can you feel that in the front of your quad?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we're gonna hold each one for 30 seconds. And now the other side. 10 to 30 seconds. And again, engage that core. Make sure that your pelvis is tilted out a little bit because it helps to really get a deep stretch into that quad. Perfect. And now we're going to do a chest stretch. Now, because we've been working with our biceps, with the planks, all those compound movements that we're using a lot of our muscles. So we're going to lock our hands in behind our back, and then we're going to just push down. You get that all across your shoulders and your chest. The deeper you push down, the more of a stretch you get. We're going to hold that. And you can also hold it in one position and kind of adjust it, move out a little bit if you want. If you feel somewhere where it feels good to get a little bit of an extra stretch in. And we're going to hold this one for 30 seconds. And now we're going to do our bicep stretch. So bicep stretch. We're going to just take our hand, and we're going to pull forward like this. Gets our forearm and our bicep. Now we can do the other hand, nice and high. Takes it all through our arm there. Awesome. And now we're going to go down onto our belly and do a full ab stretch. So you can use the mat if you'd like. And we're going to lay down, place our hands like we're going to go into a push-up, but instead
We're gonna just like push our abs up and look up.
Awesome. And can you feel that all the way in your lower abs, all the way to your upper abs?
Yep.
Perfect. Fantastic. And we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. And what we can do is we can rotate through those twice. And if you need a little extra time to stretch at the end, sometimes a little bit of extra feels good. You know, there might be something that you want to do in addition to that. Take the time to do it. It helps with the soreness after. I encourage you to drink lots of extra water throughout your workout, but as well as when you're finished. Some BCAAs might help with the muscle soreness. They're going to replenish those things that have been lost as you're exercising, and then also having a nutritionally balanced meal afterwards, high protein, your proper amounts of healthy fats and your carbohydrates. And if you have any questions, make sure that you contact me.
Okay, thank you.